We're talking actors and directors who put on the shows.
We're talking playwrights and designers who you'll want to know.
From the very first rehearsal to the final curtain call.
We might be off Broadway, but we're talking about it all.
'Cause we're two local gals
with global pals. It's everything, everything, everything theater.
with Benita
And Ellen. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Everything Theater podcast, the podcast where we talk about
everything theater. Hi there, everybody. I'm Benita Zahn.
And I'm Ellen Cribbs. And we want to let you know that you have 1 week left to catch the Harbinger show, Deep Blue Sound. We are sponsored this week by Harbinger Theater. They are performing Deep Blue Sound at Steamer Number 10 Theater in Albany. And they close on the 21st, so you only have 3 more chances to see it. On an island in the Pacific Northwest, the community gathers to address the disappearance of the local orcapod. Friendships fray, tumors grow, new love blooms, wood is chopped, poems are written. The seasons change. Will the whales ever return? So go check it out. It's going to be a great one.
I want to make that whale noise, whenever I hear about that. See, so that's our entree into music and dance vis-a-vis theater tonight with Kimera Lamoth, also doctor, PhD in philosophy, divinity, Christianity. Kimera, you're just amazing. And dance. And you have married all of that together with raising 5 children and running a farm. And tell me you make your own soap also.
No, we do not make our own soap. Ice cream, yes, but soap, no.
Oh, road trip.
Yep.
Road trip.
Please.
Kimera, but truly, you're a philosopher, dancer, a scholar of religion, and you have a master's of degree in Christianity and culture from Harvard Divinity School, a doctorate in theology of the modern West from Harvard.
Yes.
Have total, but Kimera, how do you take all of that? How does that undergird your performance skills? You've written a number of books. You've got 2 musicals, and we're going to be speaking about one in particular. Give us the thumbnail as to how you get from A to B.
Out of necessity, really, Benita. As I unfolded as a human, I discovered that I had these 2 incredible passions. One was for dance, and one was for thinking and reading and writing about religion. And it was a struggle for a good 10 years to figure out how to bring these 2 together in my life. I had what I call a crooked path. I graduated from college. I went to the dance world. I went back to the academy and did a master's. I went back into the dance world. I went back to the PhD program thinking, okay, this is the place I can really bring these interests together. So yes, I did my PhD in Christian theology of the modern West. But the question I asked myself was, why don't Christians dance? And by that, I meant mainstream modern Protestants, the churches in which I grew up. Why is dance not an integral part of what it means to be a religious person?
And Kimera, I want to jump in, not only is it not an integral part, but in some Christian religions, it's verboten.
Yes. It's the devil's work.
What did you learn?
So, that's a long story. But what I did in order to figure this out was to really go deep into the theology and philosophy of the modern period and try to figure out where dance drops out. And I tried to find allies in this project. And in my search for allies, I looked for philosophers like Friedrich Nietzsche. And I also looked for modern dancers like Martha Graham and Isadora Duncan. So I wrote my dissertation in Christian theology and philosophy on modern dance.
And now you have a musical.
Yes. And that worked. Yes, exactly.
And the music was written by your husband, Jeffrey.
Actually, I wrote the melodies. So So yes, I've written a musical now, drawing on this research that I've done in my academic work, my 30 years of work I've really done on Nietzsche, because Nietzsche is unique among the sort of major philosophers of the modern period in that he actually has images of dance scattered throughout his work. And these images of dance are really important to his argument. So I went deep, and they've been influential to other dancers, including Martha Graham and Isadora Duncan. So I went deep into Nietzsche's work, and then as that has become then the content for my next musical. Okay, so in writing this musical, I wrote the book, lyrics, and I would take my melodies for my lyrics. I took my iPhone with my melodies, I handed it to Jeffrey and said, okay, can you do something with this, please? So he took the melodies and he harmonized them and orchestrated them.
Okay.
And we're talking 27, 24 songs, right?
Yes,
Woo!
24 songs. Yep. Yeah, it's a full-length musical, 2 acts, 24 songs, probably 2.5 hours. And the music, well, I in large part because of what Jeffrey has done, is really beautiful. Like Jeffrey is really talented at like bringing these beautiful textures and harmonies together. So, and there's some pretty good hooks there. So, I mean, one of the reasons to really come see the musical is for the music.
I want to back up a little bit. Right.
You will leave singing.
You first, was it the first time it was performed was at the Fort Salem Theater?
Yes, we did a staged reading there in 2021. So no lights, no costumes, no set, no choreography, just reading and singing.
From then till now, how much has it changed?
A good amount. There have been a couple of songs added, and this has gone through a little bit of it sort of ballooned and then it shrunk, and then it kind of ballooned and then it shrunk. So it's been a process where we've had different people who've been giving us some advice. And then we had one other reading in this April with the theater company that's producing it in New York City. And that reading was also very helpful to give us a little bit more sense of how to really get the character arcs in place and really keep the momentum going through the whole piece.
And talk a little bit about that differing worlds of living on this farm and then having a show in New York City.
Yes. It is a little bit of a commute from one to the other in different worlds. And, moving to the farm for us at the beginning was really about being able to be in one place, to be able to connect with the earth, to allow ourselves to be moved by the natural world, and to allow that to fund our creative work. And so this musical has come out of our life on the farm. Like, I don't think I could have written it without the space, just the space that we have the privilege of being able to live within. So, but then the question becomes, once you write a musical that has a cast of really 17, right? 13, leads and characters, and then another 4 in the dancing chorus, where can you get that produced? And for regional theaters, it's just too big. So we've been incredibly fortunate to find this company in New York City. It's a young company. It's founded by 3 women called Off Brand Opera. And they have a really interesting mission statement and a commitment to doing new work. And one of the women who co-founded it had been part of our Nietzsche reading. So it was through this connection that Off Brand Opera said, yes, we'll be happy to produce that for you. So we now have this amazing team. Erin Kennedy is going to be our musical director. She was one of the co-founders of Off Brand Opera. We have an incredible director, Liz Bialco, who's from Oklahoma, actually. And then we've brought together like the community that Off Brand Opera has built for themselves to be members of the cast and tech. So we're very excited.
And it's coming up soon. The dates?
Yes, October 10th, 11th, and 12th. We have 4 performances, 2 evening performances, 2 matinees. It's a wonderful little space. It's on 53rd Street, the Art New York Mezzanine Theater. It's a black box that we're going to have set up as a thrust. So it'll be an intimate stage and setting. But it's a beautiful theater, and there'll be 4 opportunities to see it.
Kimber, give us a thumbnail, plot, where it starts and goes.
Yeah. So Nietzsche's a kind of a controversial figure. If you know, I mean, you don't have to know anything about Nietzsche to come to the musical and to enjoy it. It's a great story, right? But if you know a little bit about Nietzsche, you'll soon become embroiled in sort of the controversies of who he was and what he stood for. So the arc of the musical really traces his life story, but it begins at the moment where he has a mental breakdown. So one of the aspects of Nietzsche's life, which is notable, is that at age 44, he had a mental breakdown and he lost his ability to read, write, or speak. He lived on for another 9 years, but his career basically ended then. So the musical begins with that moment when Nietzsche has this mental breakdown. And as he does, 2 women emerge. One is his sister and one is his love interest, Lou Salome. And the 2 argue, basically get into an argument of who Nietzsche was. And this actually happened in the wake of his mental breakdown, is that there were sort of different groups of people who were claiming Nietzsche as one of their own. So this question of who was Nietzsche really, as these 2 women are sort of arguing over it, becomes the catalyst for the flashbacks, where you trace through the tangled, passionate personal relationships that made him who he was, that shaped his life, his work, and his legacy.
Fascinating.
Wow.
You know, at this juncture in our country, how
Yes.
do you see this speaking to audiences?
I feel like it is more and more relevant because the issues with which Nietzsche wrestled in his time are issues that we are wrestling with right now. He was writing at a time when Germany was uniting as a country for the first time in the early 1870s. And as Germany united as a country, there was a very strong movement to create this pure Christian nation state. And so there was the rise of anti-Semitism, xenophobia, a lot of arguments between and among Christians over who was Christian and who wasn't. And Nietzsche, in his writing, was speaking to these issues, not just because they were in the atmosphere around him, but because his sister became involved in the anti-Semitic party that was forming in Germany at that time. So his sister Elizabeth, who was 2 years younger than he was, married an anti-Semitic activist named Bernard Förster and moved to Paraguay to start a colony for the pure Aryan race. And the whole of Nietzsche, sort of the end of Nietzsche's trajectory in his writing, he's writing and writing to try to excavate the sources of human hatred. Like, why are these Christians who preach love, why are they acting out of hate? It's like this love, a love that teaches us to hate is not love. I mean, that's a line from the musical. It's kind of what Nietzsche was really trying to do in the end of his work. And it's what we are living through right now also. Like, how do we learn to communicate with one another across incredible political and religious differences? And really create what Nietzsche was calling, like, a radical affirmation of life. At the heart of his life was this question, like, how do we love life? How do we love life? And he was very critical of Christianity and some of the way in which some Christians were expressing Christianity at the time, because he felt like their Christianity was hostile to life, not communicating this radical affirmation of life.
Talk about timely.
Yes. Yeah.
Does it end on a good note, or
Yes.
well, we know what history said, but
Right. Well, see, the story is always unfinished. And that's part of what Nietzsche's work is about. Like he even though he, had this mental breakdown and wasn't able to sort of carry his work to the kind of point of resolution he wanted, he planted seeds that the people he knew, that his friends and people who loved him, carried forward. So, one of the penultimate song in the musical is by this woman who loved him, Lou Salome, and whom he loved. And it's her moment in which she says, I'm going to set the record straight. I'm going to write the book about Nietzsche. And she did. Lou Salome wrote the first intellectual biography of Nietzsche in order to counter the sort of anti-Semitic activists who were claiming him as one of their own because his sister was a part of their community.
Do you?
So I'm hoping that my goal really is that this will actually leave you with that Nietzsche wanted to communicate, this affirmation of life. Like he has these amazing lines in his philosophy that's like, do not throw away your love and your hope. Like, what better line could we have in this moment right now?
There's so many
So
are struggling with that. Where do you see this going?
all the way, Benita. My great hope is that as a result of this performing, this is obviously a limited run. It's in a small theater, a lovely theater. But I'm doing as much as I can to invite people there who might be willing to help take it to the next step. It would be great to have a regional production in a larger theater that would be a feeder for Broadway. That's where I'd like to go.
Oh, yes. I mean, have you been in touch with anyone at Cap Rep? Is that big enough for a next step to move it along, or do you need to be a bigger than a lower theater of this size?
I have not been in touch with Capitol Rep. I mean, I've read their material. I was going to submit to them, and then this opportunity came to work with OBO, so I didn't. So it's something that I could follow up on. Yeah. Do they send scouts to performances in New York City? I mean, is that?
Not that I'm
don't
aware of, but there's just been a changing of the guard at
Right.
Cap Rep.
Right.
So maybe Miriam, if you're listening, wants to head on down.
It's worth
You
the
never know.
conversation. Yeah.
That's
We're
part
also
of it too, isn't it? Kimber, one never knows.
right.
Mm-hmm.
No, you never know.
Any of the people who did the staged reading, are they still involved with the show?
Yes. Yes. So Erin Kennedy, she played Lou Salome in the stage reading, and she is now the music director. So Jeffrey will be playing piano, but Erin is going to be music director. Also, my daughter Kira G, she was involved in the stage reading. She played Cosima Wagner, and she also directed it. And she is now playing Lou Salome.
Wow.
So I'm incredibly excited about that.
Okay, I know I know you guys, and
Yes. No, this is
incredibly talented
it's Kira's,
family.
yeah.
You know,
She is living in New York City right now, pursuing acting. So she's ready. Yes.
Would you
what
bring
else
this
is
back
in the
to?
works?
Oh yeah,
I'm jumping in. Sorry, Ellen. We're a little. Maybe my signal is a little. I'm a little
behind. Yeah. Oh, Zoom. Well, I was just going to mention your speaking of your family, your first musical. Tell us a little bit about your the first one you wrote.
Yes. The first musical I wrote was called Happy If, Happy When. And that premiered at the Fort Salem Theater in 2017. And I wrote that musical for a couple of reasons. One was because Hamilton happened. And Hamilton was just it's such an amazing creation. And I've always loved musical theater. I've always been involved in musical theater. I got involved in dance so that I could be a triple threat, right? It was always rooted in musical theater. But Hamilton really woke me up once again, to the power of musical theater, right? When everything just comes together, the music, the dancing, the story. And my family and I as we were talking about, Ellen, had been performing together. And we'd been performing, doing these sort of cabarets where we would take our favorite musical theater songs of the moment and sing them, and as well as other songs of Jeffrey's and other songs of my children, and just sort of create a little hodgepodge variety show. And it was about this time when Hamilton came out that my kids were kind of like, Mom, you should write a musical. I was like, I'm not sure. And then I thought, well, they want me to write a musical, so why don't I write a musical about us? So I wrote a semi-autobiographical musical about two artists and their five children who moved from the city to the country following a dream, which is loosely based on our life story. We moved from the Boston area to Hebron, New York in 2005. We had three children at the time. I was pregnant with the fourth, and we had the fifth here on the farm, but I made them all present in the city so we could all be together, right? And in this story, each child, and Jeffrey and me, we all played versions of ourselves. So it was something we did together as a family. Jay Kerr was incredibly instrumental. He helped me through several drafts of the musical and helped and produced it at the Fort Salem Theater. And after that, I applied to a bunch of different theater festivals. And so in the year 2018, we actually took our musical to New York City, and we performed it as part of two different theater festivals. And a result of that, we met a producer, Ron Meyer, who was really wonderful. And he produced a 5-show run for us also in 2018 in New York City. So that was the arc of Happy If, Happy When. Recorded a cast album, which was really fun to do. And then the whole experience was just like so wonderful. And it was kind of like all my life is coming together, like all the pieces of my life are gelling. And I wanted to write a second musical. And so what did I know something about? Well, I know something about Nietzsche.
I gotta hand it to you. Most kids go, Mom, would you bake cookies?
I appreciated the faith that they had in me.
I was going to say, along the lines of the lessons of letting love override the hate, and your story is so inspiring of moving out to the farm and having this life there. I've heard so many people lately say, I just need to unplug. Like, I need to be off social media. I need to like remove myself because there's just so much hatred that I can't take it anymore. So I don't know. Do you have anything to say to people who are struggling with kind of the state of things right now?
Yes. I mean, I would say that instinct to sort of unplug and take time to be with yourself and the people you love in the natural world is incredibly necessary and incredibly healing. Like, that's where our power and our strength comes from. You don't have to feel like you are giving up or you're not participating in the way you need to. What you need to do in your life is cultivate joy and cultivate a place from which you can act. So I would say, yes to that impulse that people have. And I think I think this is one of the ways in which Nietzsche has been a guiding light for me also, is that he diagnosed a problem in the culture of his time that we have here too, in which we're just overstimulated. Our senses are overstimulated. We're stimulated so much that we lose touch with what we need, with what is healthy for us and good for us. Nietzsche described this as a condition of decadence. That was his term for it, this sensory overload that prevents us from making good decisions for ourselves. And so he's always been instrumental for me in thinking about, in order to sort of resist this kind of colonization of our senses by capitalism and the political sphere, we actually need to relearn the small things, is what he said. It's like how you treat your own body, what you eat, when you sleep, what kind of creative work you allow yourself to do, what kind of voices do you allow yourself to listen to and follow through that from your own intuition. And so Nietzsche is very big about like cultivating that kind of what I call sensory awareness. And that connects with me as a dancer too, because, well, and also Nietzsche has this great line, right? I would consider any day lost on which I have danced once. That's from Nietzsche. And for me, dance is that. Like every day, it's really important for me to dance. And to dance for me means to go in that space where I'm opening up my sensory awareness and feeling what I'm feeling. And that is what gives me a ground to be able to move in the world.
Beautifully put. And on that, I think that's a good way to wrap up, because unfortunately we're close on time. But thank you so much. This has been fascinating. Check
So
out Nietzsche, October. Give us the dates one more time.
It's October 10th, 11th, and 12th. You can go to offbrandopera.org and you'll find all the information you need. It's just one word, offbrandopera.org, O-R-G.
It'll be on 53rd Street in New York City.
Yes, 53rd Street. Yes, in New York
East
City.
side or west side?
West side. Right
Easy
in the theater.
off the train.
It's so easy. Easy walk to Penn Station. From Albany, you go zip down for the day. You can get to a matinee and be home for dinner. Well, maybe a little after dinner.
Kimmer, and before I let you go, what's in the works after this?
That's a good question. Actually, I'm writing a novel, Benita.
In your spare time.
Yes.
We'll have to talk.
Yes. And then as soon as I get through that and one other project, I'm actually going to write another musical, but it's going to come. It'll be down in the pipeline there.
Okay. Break legs.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. A pleasure talking with you both.
You too. And how exciting. What exquisite timing for this project. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
And for our listeners, go out and dance today. I'm Ellen Cribbs.
And I'm Benita Zahn. Be well.
Thank you so much for listening to the Everything Theater podcast. Special thanks goes out to Alice Grinling for our photography and Justin Friello for composing our amazing theme song. Please remember to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you want to share your thoughts or what's going on in your theater community, you can reach out to us on social media or through our email at everythingtheaterpodcast@gmail.com. Till next time, it's everything, everything, everything.